First, the speaker announced the Central Water Authority had advised all residents that day to use lead water. Next, she said, because there were very little water in the reservoir. And finally, he announced the rain was not expected for a week. Number 2. First, the speaker announced patients at City Hospital received holiday gifts that day. And next, she said children from a local school distributed presents to many of the patients. Finally, she said that keeping in the spirit of holiday season, the doctors and nurses had been given presents as well. Number 3. The speaker announced Computer Magazine reported that day that the California Computer Company had announced the entry of a new computer. Next, she said this computer were smaller and faster than other computers currently on the market. Finally, she thought that business travelers would find it very useful. Number 4. The speaker announced all banks and public offices had been closed that day because of the heavy snowfall. Next, he said schools had been also closed and would remain closed until the following week. And finally, he said most roads were closed, so the residents were advised to stay home. Number 5. First, the speaker announced Malaysia and Canada had signed a cultural exchange agreement that day. Next, he said the cultural ministers of both countries had attended a concert after the signing. And after that, he said the countries would exchange orchestras and dance groups. However, drama groups were not included in the cultural agreement. And finally, he hoped that a new trade agreement would follow. Number 6. First, the speaker announced the president had left that week on a 2-week tour of Asia. Next, he said he would meet with the heads of state of 5 different countries, and that were the president's first foreign tour since he took office. And finally, he announced that the president's wife were accompanying him on the trip. Number 7. The speaker announced traffic had been stopped for more than 4 hours the day before because of an accident. Next, he said a car hit a bus on State Street at about 5:30 p.m. And so 3 bus passengers had been taken to the hospital. Finally, he announced police had closed 2 blocks of State Street until 9:45 and directed traffic to Main Street. Number 8. The speaker announced thousands of people had gone downtown yesterday, the morning before, to see the annual National Days parade. Next, he said the parade had been led by the newly elected mayor and her family. After that, she said, following the parade, the public enjoyed an afternoon free concert in the city park. And finally, she thought that nice weather nice weather and great music had made it a pleasant day for all. Number 9. The speaker announced an increase in the sales tax had been announced the day before, and the tax would go up from 5% to 7%. Next, she said that some store owners fear that would cause people to buy fewer things. And finally, he announced the new sales tax would go into effect the following month. Number 10. The speaker announced the new high-speed train service to the nation's capital had begun the day before. Next, he said passengers had said they preferred taking the train because it was more convenient than the plane, and the 3 trains today leave from the downtown train station for the capital. And finally, he said the trip had took 2 hours and 45 minutes by train, but only 1 by plane. Number 11. The speaker announced the United Nations had appeared to its membership that day for an additional $20 million to buy more trucks and spare parts to speed distribution of supplies to the victims of East Africa's famine. The food and medicines donated by concerned government were piling up at the ports. And finally, he said, spokespeople said that if the food couldn't be moved to the approximately 10.8 million famine victims, distribution of gain would be cut in half within 3 months. Number 12. The speaker announced Japan's high savings rate were a drag on the Japanese economy and on the rest of the world as well. For the decades that high savings pattern provided inexpensive investment funds to businesses, which helped surge Japan's high economic growth. However, there was a downside to high savings pattern. That was the scarcity of consumer loans. Further, he said, further, a high savings rate reduced the value of the yen on the international market. And finally, he said that expand Japan's trade surplus, which in turn causes protectionist pressures in other countries. Number 13. First, the speaker said the Kenyan Minister of Trade had paid an unannounced visit to Chandigarh the weekend before for talked with its president. Next, he said the two discussed improving the trade relations between the two countries over the last 6 months. And finally, he said commercial affairs had dominated the attention of the respective embassies there since the first trade pact had been signed last January.